WonderCon has had some of the more unique convention exclusives made by Funko since its inception in 2020. Whether it's the blue gelatinous cube from 2023, the scientists Yzma and Kronk from 2021, or even a personal favorite of mine being the classics of Lotso from Toy Story, also from 2023. And upon looking at the exhibitor floor plan of this year's WonderCon, it is confirmed that Funko and their sister companies Mondo and Loungefly will be back this year in 2026. So I'm DK, welcome to Reviewed by DK, and today I'm going to be doing my Funko Pop exclusive predictions for WonderCon 2026. I'm going to be doing a total of 6 different pops for this list, give my explanation of each pop and the reasons why I think they're going to be exclusives for this year's WonderCon, whether it's based off of past trends of WonderCons, past trends of Comic-Con exclusives overall, or based on perhaps leaks of Funko Pops that will be releasing around the time that WonderCon will happen. And if you end up enjoying this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, but let's start off this list. And I'm going to be starting off the first prediction with a flocked variant of Flash from Zootopia. Now, there are a number of reasons why I have this pop on the list, one of them being that in prior years, WonderCon has been very heavy with Disney exclusives, which you will see a couple of more times throughout this list. Not only that, I believe it was in November, if I'm not mistaken, maybe October, we did have the release of the Zootopia 2 movie, plus this year in 2026, more specifically right around the time that WonderCon happens, will mark the 10th anniversary of the original Zootopia movie. So I do feel that Funko a lot of times will capitalize on an anniversary, and especially a convention exclusive for a movie that, from what I last remember, did fairly well. And in my mind, I don't really see Funko doing a pop for the Zootopia 2 movie at this convention, even though there was a wave of Zootopia 2 Funko Pops. If anything, and I'll mention this later, it'll probably be down the line at perhaps another convention. The second prediction I have for this list is Hennett the Sorcerer from Dungeons and Dragons. Now, in prior years for WonderCon specifically, we've had multiple Dungeons and Dragons pops. Like last year, we had Tasha, that was a limited piece count. And then, like I mentioned earlier, there was the blue gelatinous cube that also had a limited piece count glow-in-the-dark variant to go along with it. And if you even go way back in the day when Funko used to do convention exclusives for Emerald City Comic-Con, there was the green gelatinous cube pop. And even throughout Comic-Cons in general, there have been quite a bit of Dungeons and Dragons related pops, and especially with the popularity of the now finished Netflix series Stranger Things that concluded with its 5th season. Now, I was thinking about the idea of adding a Stranger Things pop to the list, but I am gonna stick to my guns to what I mentioned in the TargetCon video that I made many months ago, to where I believe that they are not going to be doing anything Stranger Things wise, or perhaps season 5 of Stranger Things related pops until at least San Diego Comic-Con in July. Now, I think this is definitely one of those cases where I think I have the licensor right, but the character wrong. The reason I specifically chose Hennett the Sorcerer is pretty much of the fact of what we're basing off of with that recent season of Stranger Things, and how Will is mentioned to be a sorcerer, especially this specific moment Funko already made a pop of for season 5 of Stranger Things. However, it is likely that I could get wrong with this because there are a plethora of different Dungeons and Dragons related creatures and characters throughout the game, so it could be this character. It most likely won't be though, knowing my luck. My third prediction I have for this list is a comic sketch variant of Hulk for the Marvel lineup. Now, throughout 2025, we had a lot of the brand new, I guess you can say, specification of the comic sketch pops. We had it for just Disney in general, and we've had a couple for Marvel already with characters like Spider-Man and Wolverine, and I think Iron Man off the top of my head. And the reason I chose Hulk more specifically is because Hulk will be appearing in the upcoming Spider-Man Brand New Day movie that releases July. And kind of like I mentioned with the last 2 points already, more specifically this time with Spider-Man Brand New Day, I don't see the likeliness of a convention exclusive for that specific movie until at least San Diego Comic-Con, especially because that movie does release around the time of San Diego Comic-Con. So I think doing a character that is fairly popular like the Hulk and then tying it in with that movie definitely makes sense, and this might be one of those cases like I mentioned with the last pop where I think I have the idea right this time time around for like a comic sketch pop, but I don't think it's going to end up being Hulk. But I mean, Marvel is a part of the Disney umbrella, so it is a fairly big chance that this could be a reality. Shout out goes to Sentinel107 and Duh Unacceptable Viewer. And the reason that they ended up getting a shout out is because they joined our YouTube channel membership, which only cost $1.99 a month. Not only do you get the shout out, but you do get lots of other perks, including early access to every single video and short that we produce on this channel. So definitely consider joining our YouTube channel membership. It will be greatly appreciated and will go a long way of helping out this channel a lot. So definitely consider it, but let's get right back to the video. My fourth prediction for this list is a Shisui Susano from Naruto Shippuden. Now, throughout the entirety of 2025, we have been seeing the Susano Deluxe Pops. We had the one for WonderCon, we had the one for San Diego Comic-Con, and then we had the one for New York Comic-Con. And even prior to the Susano Comic-Con exclusive pops, there were other Susano pops that were 6-inch pops that were Hot Topic exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. And upon further research, I believe there were 6 different Susanos, and now they've done every single one besides the one that I have mentioned, which has the whole green effect going on. I haven't really seen much of Naruto. Anime is usually something I don't really dabble into with my predictions, unless it's with Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I have seen Yu-Gi-Oh! I've only seen bits and pieces of Naruto, Demon Slayer, 4 seasons of My Hero Academia. I don't really watch too much anime, especially, and I mention this so much on the channel, I'm likely never ever going to see One Piece because I just can't commit with my time to watching 64 episodes a season for 25 seasons. But I do think out of a lot of my predictions that I have on this list, this is one of the more likely ones to actually come true, just because of the recent trends that have happened with Comic-Cons that could easily take place at WonderCon to kind of finish off this set once and for all. My fifth prediction for this list is a new Emperor Zurg for the Toy Story lineup. Now, we did celebrate the 30th anniversary of Toy Story in 2025 with its own set of Funko Pops. And I do think it is a pretty big likeliness to have at least another 30th anniversary related pop for Toy Story be a WonderCon exclusive that kind of kicked off last year with the Tin Toy that also released for WonderCon being limited to 5,000 pieces. And once again, going off of the idea of certain things not happening until at least San Diego Comic-Con, I do think that will be the case if we get pops for the upcoming Toy Story 5 movie. And Zurg is a character that hasn't really had a new molding in such a long time. Besides the original one that released in like the OG set of Disney Pops, the only closest thing we've had for Zurg Pops were the limited piece Zurg Pop Pez that came out in 2019, I believe it was. We had the Zurg Pop that released for the Lightyear movie, which not a lot of people were too fond about that movie as it is. And then the most recent example of them doing a Zurg Pop is for the Toy Story Biddy Pop set, where it's based off of the OG box, but the actual pop inside is a more updated look. And that's kind of how I imagine the way that this Zurg Pop will look. And I do think it's a reality because back in 2023, there was the Pop Classics of Lotso, another Toy Story character that hadn't been made for many, many years up until that point. Whether this pop ends up being a classic or not, that is undecided as of yet, but I wouldn't mind it because they do have really good box arts. But I think it just makes sense just to keep it with the 30th anniversary box, and it does make sense for it to be a part of that set, even as a Toy Story 2 character, because there was Al McWiggum with the chicken suit as a part of the set, which was also a part of Toy Story 2. So I think it'd be really awesome to get a brand new Zurg pop, and I think WonderCon is a great place for it, especially if you add even like the blaster in the one hand and it's a glow-in-the-dark specification. It'd be chef's kiss, and of course, Toy Story being my #1 set of pops that I collect, it's something I will 100% be adding into my collection. And the sixth and final prediction is a 10-inch Articuno from Pokemon. If there's any pops that I have on this list that I am guaranteed to get correct in my opinion, it's going to be this one. The last couple of years, we we have had 10-inch convention exclusive Pokemon pops of Pokemon that have never been made previously in the 4-inch form. For 2024, we had the Cresselia for C2E2, the Arceus for San Diego Comic-Con, and the Dialga for New York Comic-Con, all in which I believe had a connection of being Gen 4 legendary Pokemon. Well, last year we had Suicune for WonderCon, Entei for San Diego Comic-Con, and Raikou for New York Comic-Con, all in which were Gen 2 legendaries, and with this year marking the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, it just seems so logical that they finally give us those Gen 1 legendary birds of Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos. And the reason I specifically chose Articuno is exactly the way they presented them last year. Suicune from last year, which is a water-type Pokemon, but then we have Articuno that's kind of close to there, Entei that's a fire-type Pokemon, which is also the same type that Moltres is, and then that leaves with Raikou, which is an electric-type Pokemon, the same type as Zapdos, but that is just another thing reviewed by DK. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in the next video.